Yes, greetings to you. I always like to say in the best of salutations. I want to say from the outstart that that it is a honor and a privilege really to be on this plane of existence at this moment and in this at this moment. I didn't want to say time. The normal literary or verbal expression at this moment, place, and time. And from another hour from now, or another minute from now, we'll be at another minute. Another hour, we'll be at another hour. Time. Does it moves, or does it just stays the same? I realize that that the only thing that unites us and brings us together is time. I always say scientifically when my mother was ovulating and my father interacted with her, of course that would have to be at the right time, and through the law of gradual process I came about. So I'm here. And when I say I like to greet people in the best of salutations, the best of salutations is one of peace, because we are no threat to each other. And yes, and the purpose of this expression is that I realize that how can anyone create a heaven here on earth for themselves at the expense of creating a condition or placing people in a condition and subjecting them to hell? Well, we know both of them are, many people know that they are conditions. Some say heaven is an elevated state of mind. And heaven is a pronoun that takes the place of a noun. Haven is a plant, linguistically speaking. Plant and animal life. Plant. We are planted here. This is a planted. This is a learning environment, this universe. So what comes out of the mentality of a people who someone says that the white man's heaven is the black man's hell? I believe that was Honorable Louis Farrakhan in the song that he wrote. I'm just we know black and white is just terms that people apply to human beings. They just concepts and ideas. They're not facts. But how can one, as Malcolm would say, he couldn't, who supported Reginald Lewis, to be denied access to wealth? How can one be denied that? Then people being economically strapped. They talk many politicians and people who listen to the politicians talk about creating a livable wage some 5 years down the line when inflation will go up. Who is one of the groups talk about, we're right back where we started from. Several groups. I'm just alluding to them. I can't think of one of them, one of the groups who said that, singing groups. Yes. It got to come out of a mindset, of a mentality of a people who subject people to hellish conditions, unhealthy and unwholesome. And if you hear something over and over and over again, and you see something, the negativity over and over again, it becomes a part of you. And you wonder why in this country people, need mental help. Yes. And create this hate psychosis. And some people, they just go along with the laws that had been set up by the dominant culture, which is, I make my case that we're suffering from SLD, social learning disability. Chinka Diop made it clear that once you throw out the ecology of the environment, once intellectual aptitude for learning becomes difficult. We all are created equal. Some will argue differ than that and use the religious texts and so forth and so on, but that's their thinking. It's just the misuse of our faculties, It's the attitude that we have about each other, things, and our humanity. So, what does it mean to be instructed, in a way that is either illustrated or demonstrated, and illustrated? I realize that children learn in picture form and come graphics. That picture become a meaning, and meaning becomes an emotion, and you act on it. St. James Baldwin said, the writer, that children will listen, they don't paraphrase, and they may not listen to you, but they watch what you do, or they imitate what you do. Yeah. I'm just taking from what many some people have left and just trying to bring clarity, because everybody have need of self-expression. In a way, to cultivate. That's why the mandate of Common Humanity Mission is to cultivate the light of knowledge that's in us all. It is the potential of knowledge that is in us all. This potential, we're here to reach our full potential. It's our purpose. And it's perfecting gradually. It's a process of gradual perfection, moving from sympathy to empathy, not reflecting callousness, no carelessness, one for another, for the common good that brings out the best of our humanity. This way, I always like to say that I'm here to do my best to protect and defend my integrity and the weapon I use with dignity, and I try to do it the benevolent way. To be instructed in a way that determines our limitations and accomplishments, and that deals with flows and blockages. We're dealing with accessibility again. It's governed by the law of works. All things accomplished through mental and physical actions. I realized that first thing as I reflect and think and jot down, when it comes what does it mean to be instructed in a way. But I deal with energy, your energy. Everybody talks about that which we call God. Energies. Energy. If your energy is down, and it leads to what medical term called depression. Energy is up, ready to roll. So, as Dr. King would say, that the ghetto is like a domestic colony, always being depleted but not replenished. We're talking about replenishing and salvaging the energy of our soul, and when it comes to our common humanity. Yes. It is the energy that sparks the interests and the intentions and the motivation, that which we seek after. And we seek and we shall find. What you and I represent is the result of what we reflect. And we will come to know the why we are here. This country had the ideas that says no taxation without representation is tyranny. Represent. Re is also associated with Ra, ancient teachings of Kemet, the energy of the light that we connect with, that is in the cultivating of our potential when it comes to our common humanity. And what is present is a gift. And we are here, and this is a gift. If you look at the animals who people put in cages, but yet they put humans in cages, who created the conditions in the environment and alter the conditions of the environment that make people act in a very savage way. The use of all illicit drugs, even to a point that we always have to go through someone as if they are in charge of what has been freely transformed and freely created by this energy force that's in the universe. Uno, one, verse turn two in one direction, and there you have your guidance. Maybe we turn away from it instead of turning to it. This, know why you hear in nature, life is a reproduction of the life that existed before it. And once you know that, you will be guided toward it. And that which you are guiding toward it, and that which you represent, is one's common humanity. So I said common humanity, mission is to promote the value of self-worth. The motto is to communicate with precision a clearer image to the world through 5 channels of communication. 1 is understanding. 2nd is tolerance. 3rd, temperance/temperament, which is the bridge between the two before, and the remaining 3, or the remaining 2, which is after temperament, then it becomes confidence, then it becomes respect. And when you deal with this here, we realize that resiliency is the author of success. And how do I know resiliency is the author of success? Scientifically, biologically, when we came here, it was resiliency that brought us here. That is the natural order. Everything produces of its own kind. So, in those 5 channels of communication, may they open up understanding. When you have balanced understanding, speaks clearly. And when you talk about understanding, it is designed to restore social credibility. Why? Because it's a restoration. It is a restoration process. It is a restoration process. It is a restoration process for the preservation. When it comes to our common humanity, it needs to be restored. Some would say it needs to be salvaged. About the salvage of the human soul. About our credibility. The credibility of our integrity. The integrity of our common humanity. It needs to be restored, because I say society is under social reconstruction. Whereas our feelings are becoming desensitized. We're becoming desensitized. When it comes to our common humanity, place us in a compromising, jeopardizing situation. We cannot turn from our common humanity. We must turn to it. How do you turn to it? It is the energy that needs to be strengthened. And how do you strengthen the energy and not weaken it? Is you be around people whose strength is strong when it comes to the restoration first and the preservation of the greater good of our common humanity. And you will come to know this is not my understanding. This is not, I've come to know this, is that oneness is stronger than conflict and unity is stronger than diversity. It makes sense. This is associated with Islamic teachings, and I don't promote anything that is dogmatic. Not dogmatic. But if it makes sense, it makes sense. Stronger than conflict. Talk about the strength. And where's strength? Strength is in restraint. It's in discipline. Stronger humanity. Oneness is stronger than conflict, and unity is stronger than diversity. Because universe, one. If you notice the way the planets rotate, the consequential aspect of it, and when you come to it, we would know that our human existence, the consequential aspect of how the planets rotate. That's why I say I'm a consequentialist. I live my life as an aspirant, trying to be an inspiration to myself as well as to others. The planets are turning, however, the sun is one essential. The Torah is we talk about something that is we're dealing with one's essential nature. I'm talking about one's essential nature, because that which is above is that which is below. The correct interpretation of what is above, it is in a system, is in a natural order of things. But then some comes up with this unnatural order, such as Darwinism, whoever you want to call them, make no difference in the evolution from animals and so forth and so on, humans. I mean, come on, man. It doesn't make sense. It's like it is a justification of subjecting people to a point that you dominate and control the way they think and the way they behave and the way they interact with one another. It is a very savage understanding. Very low level thinking. But yet they held in high esteem. You look at the element and the response, we look at the sun as essential. It's essential for the talking about gravity and our oxygen. It become a habitat. You know, like the 99, they call it in Islam 99 attributes, but you know, we got the oxygen, the nitrogen, I can't recall the other, but it comes out to be 99. When the earth, it can become, a place can become habitable. You know, you can inhabit it. You can live in it. You can exist. Talking about the vital signs, the vitality of the environment when it comes to our mental surroundings. You go to the doctor check your vital signs. That's the only message I know. The message of vitality, the message that is the vegan vitality, your vital signs. That's what you got to read. The doctor talks about that. It has something to do with the environment. Therefore, this turning, especially in one direction, in fact, that one reality we know that we have what? Forgotten about it. Considering we have grown accustomed to it, we have to deal with customs. Turning in one direction in our commonplace toward our common humanity is the natural order. That's why I say, talking about the consequential aspect of the evolving, turning one direction. First law of the universe is said is motion. For me, motion is the maturing development of life. Maturity when it comes to our common humanity. People use this and apply it to humans that the big fish swallow up the little fish. Yes, there's a teaching that says we all come from humble beginnings. So why Islamic teaching? So why think of yourselves more highly than the next individual? Stop using your title, your education, misusing it. Whatever you believe in, stop using it to sell people cheap. tactics and your tools have been exhausted and it has been exposed. I don't care if you are a politician, theoretician, educator, your tools, your mechanism has been exhausted. You have been exposed. Doing the bidding of a tyrant, a conjecturer, a manipulator, a deceiver, and murdering the people with the wrong type of education, the wrong type of understanding, and the misrepresentation of this country say it is tyranny. But yet how hypocritical can you be? When it's still going on. Say we're victims of this social order here, which is a social disorder. May we offer mature solutions to immature problems. And we turn in this one direction, finding our common humanity, which is open to everyone. It is a natural expression, the totality of our common humanity when it comes to the universe, how it expresses itself. It's natural. So what about natural catastrophes? What control do we have over that? None. But it is the replenishing. It's the replenishing of it. It is the restoration of it. So, in this 5 channels of communication, communicating with precision and clear image to the world. The first is the understanding. It is designed to restore social credibility. And 2 is the tolerance, our capacity to understand that what we readdressing is social diversity, which means really one's aspirations. Because when inspiration comes down, one's aspiration goes up. We're still dealing with one's energy. We're still dealing with energy. And then the 3rd channel is to revise understanding, tolerance, temperance / temperament, temperance, self-control, then temperament, attitude, to revise one's social coherent, become more coherent, more cognitive, more alert, more aware, the highest level of sensitivity. Got to be careful what's going into our ears and what we're seeing with our eyes. As difficult it is, as well as what we consume. That be our diet. Not doing everything in it, too much things in excess, but in moderation. So this 4th channel of communication, understanding, tolerance, temperance, temperament, confidence, and the continuity of our confidence in cooperating one with another when it comes to the greater good of our humanity. We can replenish the continuity of it when it comes to the flow of the energy. Yes. And finally, reclaiming social solidarity, the respect of it, of the energy. Respect the energy, man. When it comes to the way of which our energy guides us and instructs us. Because if it's not channeled properly, it will become destructive as opposed to constructive. And when there is no retribution, no consequences of one's actions, one's heart, I've learned, becomes filled with schemes to do wrong. Yes. So, may we be in pursuit of this way of life that brings out the greater good and the best of our humanity, promoting the value of self-worth, communicating with precision a clearer image to the world, and cultivating the light of the potential of knowledge that is in us all as we walk in the light of social progress, not in the darkness of regression, but progression. I realize that happiness is the joy that you feel when you are in pursuit of your happiness. May we free the dome as we communicate our humanity with the highest of vibration, united with the healthiest vibration. It's coming together, as it says, in united energies for the greater good and bring out the best in our humanity, doing so in a benevolent way. This country has something on it, alluded to it a little bit, and they say United States of America. We're talking about united energies, and it's based on composition. Just look at the makeup of your anatomy. Look how you was composed as a human being for the greater good and the best of humanity. It's a natural expression. Who told you you was naked? Who told you to look outside of yourself? Circumstances makes us other than ourselves. Who gave you that attitude? Who stenciled that in your head? When you talk about being guided, how do you assess the nature of one's origins and the nature or the way and the tool that is being used? Or what science or what teaching? Mathematics teaches us to understand the unknown. You must first calculate that which is known. Instructed by mathematics and guided by nature. Nature is the reproduction of the life that existed before it. What was our common humanity that existed? What was understood about it before I existed by my parents, what existed and understood by them before them by their parents, and who taught them, who trained them, who educated them, and did they come to learn on their own? So I say, once again, that I am a consequentialist. I do my best to study the value of nature, and the mandate is to cultivate the potential of knowledge that is in myself, as well as to create an environment that people can hopefully will do the same. I'm not saying that they are not doing it, but we have become accustomed to doing things opposite due to the outside influence and the tools and the mechanism that they use to further many of society to be led like sheep, not only to the slaughter, but to be led off the cliff. But there are some who refuse to follow that suit, to follow that way. May we all come together. As I say, I try to practice syncretism, which means the nature of reverencing the value that I see and that I come to know when it comes to our common humanity. So I say this in closing. Once again, is that what does it mean to be instructed in a way that helps us to tap into the resiliency and finding out our common humanity that will ensure cooperation and trust. Instructed by mathematics and come to understand the unknown, you must first calculate the known. Guided when it comes to new life is a reproduction of the life that existed before me or before it. That becomes my common humanity. I realize I'm here to represent that common humanity. In doing so, I will discover and find out the meaning and the nature of life, which is the natural order of life. And that natural order first starts with the correct interpretation of what that has been produced before us. It's in the universe, brother. They coexist and they operate in order. They are in harmony. It's not in contrary to nature. You become, when you grow up, your child we become dependent and independent and interdependent, as Brother Bilal made that clear one time to me. The key said is dependent, and not to take advantage of one another at the expense of making someone your subject and your slave. The only thing I know I'm subjected to is matter. And one thing I realize about truth, it is the cause that impacts the effects of one's reality. Egalitarianism at its best, for the greater good and the best of our common humanity. Going back to find my common humanity, my essential nature and the essence of life. Without strife. So I say to you, until next time, if it be that will, and I realize about will is submit my behavior. Will is a behavior. And may we channel our energy properly in the best of ways at any given moment, at any given time. And may our mind continue to be stronger than our emotions, and may our logic and emotions become balanced, and just trying to be about the centering. Christians say in their religious text, in their expression, Christ is the center of their life, and Christ is a state of development through the process of spiritual consciousness. I believe a brother who made his transition led me to that. Brother Mamadi. So, be a benevolent and kind one to another. Talk to you.